the terminologies and concepts used in geometry. In this video, we are going to learn about defined terms, rays and opposite rays, the difference and illustration of curves and surfaces, and manifolds. Definition and illustration of curves. What is a curve? A curve is defined as a smoothly flowing continuous line that has bend. It doesn't have any sharp turns. The way to identify the curve is that the line bends and changes its direction at least once. Curves are classified into different categories. Let us have a look at different types of curves with example. Simple curve. A curve that changes its direction but it does not intersect itself. This type of curve is known as simple curve. A simple curve may be open or closed. Non-simple curve. The non-simple curve is a type of curve that crosses its path. It means that the curve intersects itself while changing its direction. Open curve. A curve that has two endpoints and when it does not enclose the area within itself. These are the examples of open curves. Closed curve. A closed curve is a curve that has no endpoint. This type of curve is formed by joining two endpoints of the open curve. The best example of closed curves are circles and ellipses. Upward curve. A curve that points towards the upward direction is called an upward curve. The upward curve are called concave upward or convex downward curves. Downward curve. A downward curve is a curve that points towards the downward direction. The downward curves are called concave downward or convex upward curves. Let us understand more deeply about the curve lines. In mathematics, a curve is a set of all points xy which satisfies an equation of the form f of x and y equals 0. In geometry, curves can be classified into two types. They are the two-dimensional curve shapes and the three-dimensional curve shapes. Circles, ellipses, parabolas and hyperbolas, as well as arcs, sectors, and segments are two-dimensional curve shapes, whereas shapes such as spheres, cylinders, and cones are referred to as the three-dimensional shapes. Let's take a look to the classifications of curve shapes. Number 1. Circle. The circle is a closed two-dimensional curve in which the set of all the points in the plane is equidistant from a given point called center. If the circle is centered at the origin, having radius r, then its equation in rectangular coordinates is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Number 2. Parabola. The parabola is a symmetrical open plane curve formed by the intersection of a cone with a plane parallel to its side. Parabola is a two-dimensional curve. If the parabola having a vertex 0, 0 goes to the right, then its equation in rectangular coordinates is y squared equals 4ax. Third, we have sectors and segments. Sectors and segments are two-dimensional curves, slices of a circle. Sectors are shaped like a slice of a pizza with a curved edge and each straight side is the same length as the radius of a circle from which it was cut. Pie charts are made up of a number of sectors relating in size to the data they show. Segments is the curved part of a sector, the part that is left if you remove the triangle from a sector. Segments are made up of two lines, the arc, which is the section of the circumference of a circle, and the chord, which is the straight line joining the two ends of the arc. Number 4 is the ellipse. An ellipse is a two-dimensional curved shape that is defined along its axis. An ellipse is formed when a cone is intersected by a plane at an angle with respect to its base. If the major axis of the ellipse is x-axis, then its equation in rectangular coordinate is x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. Number 5 is the helix. The helix is a non-planar curve as shown in the figure. It lies in a three-dimensional space. If the helix is circular helix, then the curve lies in a cylinder. Now, let's proceed to the definition and types of surface. What is surface? Surface is a two-dimensional geometric figure in three-dimensional space. The simplest example is a plane, a flat surface. Some other common surfaces are spheres, cylinders, and cones, the names of which are also used to describe the three-dimensional geometric figures that are enclosed by those surfaces. In mathematics, a surface is a geometrical shape that resembles a deformed plane. The most familiar examples arise as boundaries of solid objects in ordinary three-dimensional Euclidean space R-cube, such as spheres. Surface is categorized into 5. We have flat surface, curved surface, both plane and curved surface, two-dimensional surfaces, and three-dimensional surfaces or shapes. Flat surface. It is a plain horizontal surface with no depths. Flat surfaces are called plane surfaces. The objects having plane surfaces are called plane objects. Plane figure can be composed of line segments, curves, or a combination of the two. Plane figures are often categorized as open or closed. The segments or curves of an open figure are not always connected. At least one endpoint of one side is not connected to the rest. Line segments, curves, angles, and many other shapes are open. Closed. The line segments or curves forming a closed figure are continuous, meaning there's no break. The line or curve must also form a closed region to be considered a closed shape. A closed figure has area and perimeter. The second type of surface is curved surface. Curved surface is a rounded surface that is not flat. An object can have a curved surface all around it. Such objects have only one surface throughout. Spherical surfaces are formed by only one surface. Real-life examples of objects with curved surface throughout are balls, globes, eggs, pipes, and domes. Number 3. Both plane and curved surface. There are some objects which have both planes and curved types of surfaces. Examples of real-life objects with both plane and curved surfaces are drums and clock. The boundary surrounding the drum is curved, and the circular side on which it is beaten is plane. Similarly, the clock is curved and the glass side is plane. Number 4. Two-dimensional surfaces. The two-dimensional surfaces are flat surfaces having the dimensions of height and width only. having its element organized in terms of a flat surface, especially emphasizing the vertical and horizontal character of the picture plane. The following are examples of two-dimensional surfaces. Number 5. Three-dimensional shapes or surfaces. In geometry, the three-dimensional shapes or 3D shapes are solids that have three dimensions such as length, width, and height. Unlike two-dimensional shapes, three-dimensional shapes have height, which is the same as the thickness or depth. Three-dimensional is also written as 3D, and hence, these figures are commonly called 3D shapes too. All three-dimensional figures occupy space which is measured in terms of volume. The following are real-life examples of the three-dimensional shapes. Properties of three-dimensional shapes. The three important properties of three-dimensional shapes are faces, edges, and vertices. The face is called the flat surface of the solid. The edge is called the line segment where two faces meet, and the vertex is the point where two edges meet.